Amelia and I had a chance to visit this old Bayport cemetery located at the east end of Sand Road in McKinley Township, just east of Bayport. It's only about 15, 20 minutes from where we live, so it was a good little trip to get away. Uh, During the Ora Labora years, the area was the heart of the settlement. The society was said to have its own cemetery, which remains are still unable to be located and or no longer exist. Conflicting historical reports on Old Bayport Cemetery either confirm or deny the possibility of the former Ora Labora colonists ever being buried there. And here in a minute, I'll explain to you who the Ora Labora colonists were. But according to information provided by the Bayport Historical Society, there's a total of 241 graves at this cemetery um, as of April 1988. As you're going down Sand Road here, you will see wildlife. We saw some deer. Here you see a turkey and a bunch of little chicks running down the road, so I had to slow down a little bit. As you're also going down Sand Road here, it's fairly well maintained. No issues whether you're in a truck or a car getting down this road. One of the unique things is when you get here to the cemetery, it's really quiet. You can hear the crows, you can hear the animals. It's definitely a quiet, somber place. And we'll go more in details here in just a moment. In the late 1850s, a German immigrant and pastor by the name of Emil Bauer had a vision to create a utopian society in the Michigan wilderness. The colony was originally called the Christian German Agricultural and Benevolent Society, Ora Labora. It would be created to establish a society where the members could pray, work, and live according to the teachings of the Methodist Church. As you can see here, as we get out and start taking a look at the cemetery, as you're climbing, you definitely got to watch your footing. There are some hills, and you got to use your handrails and everything. The society was commonly referred to as Ora Labora, which is Latin for pray and work. Amelia and I had some time to go out and really look at this site. You know, it's a lot of markers from mid to late 1800s throughout the 1900s. It's really magical and majestic, and being interned here has got to be quite somber and also great for the families, you know, just having a place for them to be laid to rest in tranquility. I guess the centerpiece or the most photographed and documented is this one grave marker, which has got to be at least 16 feet in height, also overshadowed with this kneeling angel here for this family. It's been well documented in many historical sites and books. Even looking at this marker here, you know, this man loved dogs and was the host of hosts. Again, just the restful and peacefulness of this woods is great. Here you'll see again, the headstones going back to the 1800s. And again, some of the markers and the plots laid aside for the families are so old, you'll see the moss growing and everything. But again, just that monument being in the middle of the woods is very eye-catching. Unfortunately, as we're going through the cemetery, you will see a lot of the markers are in disrepair, probably not from human, but just over periods of time, wildlife and the weather. The harsh, freezing conditions followed by the brutal summers can definitely take a toll on any man-made item, especially the markers. But getting back, at its peak, according to the Bayport Historical Society, and once fully established, the colony consisted of 22 cabins, a board home, a store, school, barns, sawmill, tannery, blacksmith shop, and a carpenter shop. Each newcomer was given 40 acres of land, which the village laid out in squares. Also, at the height of the Ora Labora colony, the number around 300 residents. Again, it's up to the historical society whether or not some of these markers are originally from that community. But the one thing we also noticed is back in the early days, they used to put cause of death on the back of the grave markers. Here you see scarlet fever. Here, just such a unique place. You'll see with the benches and the markers throughout the cemetery here. The downfall, in addition to the hardship the colony members endured at the time, by 1864, the Civil War draft and settlement began to suffering a major toll, with the colony's able-bodied men being drafted and never returning. It was becoming evident Ora Labora's days were numbered. Although I did not see any markers at the time dated, during the Civil War time frame, which was the 1864-66 onward period, is nothing to say that there couldn't be here somewhere, but didn't see any. But by February 1866, the principal officers of the colony made a difficult decision, declaring the settlement a failure, and chose to sell off the land to the town. The difficulties are shown right here. For example, this person drowned in a well. Again, they put the cause of death in some of the grave markers. I just, again, don't see that anymore. But that goes to show, without the men and able-bodied persons being around, how challenging life had to be back in those days, with the weather and all the other hardships they had to endure. Currently, there is no real physical evidence that this colony ever existed, but it is known that the last known building of this community was last standing in 1942. Thanks for watching.